This is my first time using the Matsubara 9.4 inch Gyuto. I've got some various ingredients. I'm basically just prepping my dinner for tonight, and I have a feeling I'm really gonna like this blade, so I figured let's just put it to use for the first time together. But before I muck up the blade, let me go over some of the key features of this just stunning knife. The blade is 9.4 inches or 244 millimeters. We have a Kurouchi finish with stainless steel cladding, a nice polished edge. You can see that this is relatively tall for a Gyuto, even with the length in mind. The handle is burnt white oak with a very light lacquer on it. What's great about this is it still has a natural wood feel. It doesn't feel like you're holding on to a plastic handle, which is how some of the really heavily lacquered handles feel regardless of what type of wood it is made from. All right, let's put this to work. I'm gonna do some type of roast for dinner tonight and a salad, so let's get started with some cucumber here. I'm going to, man, I tell you, the weight of this blade, just that first slice, makes this feel so incredibly effortless. Just gonna fillet out the seeds here so we don't have a soggy salad. This wide blade is really interesting on its side like that because it essentially gives you a little bit more support and helps you stay straighter without kind of digging into whatever product that you are cutting. That one's got a lot of seeds deep in it. Really nice. The blade has a lot of surface contact pretty much all the way up until about here, so just over halfway. So with a wider set of product like this, you can get a nice tap without missing product. And you don't really have to go into a push where you're finishing through the product to make sure that you are cutting everything evenly. Okay, that was just effortless. Decent contact with the cutting board on the spine for moving product around. That's always a good thing. Let's julienne some onion. Quick tip, whenever you are working, geez, I just kind of flew them everywhere. I'm a little excited here. All right, whenever you have an onion and you get to this point, it's higher than it is wider. So all you have to do is just press this down and continue through with your julienne. Let's do a push. I don't know why, but I'm just being a little messy today, I guess. Jeez. I got onion flying everywhere. Little rock chop here. Some Gyutos you can't get a good rock chop flow because of the way the tip of the edge just curves down towards the cutting board and it kind of dives into it, but this has, it's not quite totally centered. It's a little bit edge leaning, but it's just far enough back to get a nice curve here so you can easily do a rock chop. Push. And I'm gonna just do some wider coins to cook with my roast. Basically, I'm gonna end up caramelizing these onions, throw them into a pot with this roast, and then I'm going to add the carrots, some stock, I've got some thyme, and at the very end, when the roast is done and it's all braised and pulled, I'm just going to blend all the liquid and make a nice little gravy. So all of this is just gonna get pulverized, but the flavor is going to be spot on. All right, with these mini bell peppers, how I break these down, I just slice them right down the center. God, the weight of this is beautiful. Quick tip with these mini bell peppers. Take a teaspoon and just scrape and hold the teaspoon down into your cutting board and you can pull out the seeds and the base of the stem in one easy motion. It's so much easier than cutting them out. And then when you do it this way, you're also saving product waste, because if you were to just cut the top off, you're just going to lose some pepper. And as small as these are, you don't want to lose, 10–15% of your pepper, just to prevent yourself from having to worry about cleaning seeds and the stem. All right, we're going to cut these up for the salad. Jeez. Huge fan. Huge fan. This, as big and heavy as this blade is, it doesn't feel it because the weight is working in your favor, especially because the handle is lighter. This is obviously blade heavy. I mean, I have to go all the way up to here, so an inch and a half above the choil in order to balance this out. So that weight leaning forward into the blade is really helpful. Again, you just don't feel like you're working with such a big knife. Very sharp. Big fan. Some tomato for the salad. How do we want to do these? Let's go. That's kind of a test right there. The tomato is the nemesis of a knife. So I made that incredibly unstable, and yet it was still able to go through and cut without crushing the tomato. Look at that. It just digs in and goes. Sometimes you do this with a dull knife, and instead of cutting it, it just like slips everywhere. So it's doing the trick. The Kurouchi will patina. The stainless cladding will be totally fine, but the edge of this will also patina a bit. So you want to make sure that you clean this off as you're using it and definitely dry it immediately after you are done using it. A little snack for the day. When I'm using the tip of a knife like this, I'm doing it because I don't want product to stick to the side of the knife just like that. But with a knife that's this big and has this long of a handle and where I'm pinching up like this, you can see that if I were to just keep it dead straight along my arm, the handle is digging into my wrist or my forearm, and then I have to come up on a very awkward angle in order to use the tip. So instead, I don't know if you caught it a little bit ago, but push the handle off to the side right here. So you have to kind of reposition your body a little bit, but now the handle is up higher. I'm getting the angle I need without having my arm at some awkward angle. It's these little things that you just kind of pick up on with your obsession with knives. So I don't have to wash my hands before I finish this video. This is some top round roast or something like that. I'm going to actually smoke this for about 30 minutes just to get a little bit of flavor, but I want to expose more surface area. So all I'm going to do, is cut it into strips. Didn't press down hard enough on that one. Got ahead of myself. Yes, that is... Actually, you know what? Cut them into a little bit smaller pieces. I don't know if you knew this, but Gyuto translates to cow sword, and it basically was created when beef was brought to Japan and became a staple in their diet. The more you know. The Matsubara packaging is real traditional. The knife comes in cardboard within the paper and then a cardboard sheath. And I believe this may have come with some bubble wrap that was around the handle to prevent it from going around. And this also has foam where the blade goes, so that minimizes this jostling around and chipping, which is great because I didn't see any abrasions on this blade. So that's something you got to consider with different brands. Sometimes you get stuff that's like just getting bounced around like crazy during shipment, and then you get a brand new knife and it's got scuffs all over the bolster or the handle or the blade, and it's like, you know, you're gonna end up wearing the blade anyway. But like, I want to do that, not the UPS truck or the boat rider, whatever else. So there you have it, folks. This is the Matsubara 9.4 inch Gyuto. I must say, I'm a big fan. I want to see more from Matsubara. I do have a bunka of theirs, which I may save for another video, but it's as traditional as a lot of the other bunkas that I have. Nothing against it, it's just I've used many like it before. I've not used many Gyutos that are this big, this tall, this heavy, this thick of a spine, so this was a treat. This is definitely a cow sword. It's a great chef's knife for everyday prep. If you like that Western style heavy blade and you want it to be blade heavy, not balanced out, like if you were to hold a Zwilling Pro or a Wüsthof Classic right at the pinch grip, the handle and the blade are near perfectly balanced if it's 10 inches. If it's the 8-inch blade, it's going to be handle heavy. But at 10 inches, which this is darn close to, this gives you a real blade heavy experience, which some people think might create some fatigue, but I disagree. I think that this blade heavy Gyuto is doing a lot more work for you than what you may think. So that's it, folks. I'm Chef Brandon with Cutlery and More. Hang out for a few more seconds and you're gonna see some beautiful close-up shots of this blade. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment and all that jazz you do with YouTube videos. If you're one of the lucky ones that can get this before it's out of stock, you can check it out at cutleryandmore.com. Thanks for tuning in.